Hey, so the last video I had started talking about retrieving memories. And like I said, this series is gonna be a bit vague. It's more in a kind of feeling place, and also for me, it's quite experimental because I've never talked about this before. So at this time that I'm posting this, we're actually going into, or we have started in Jupiter retrograde. I'm gonna talk a little bit astrology because it might help. So we're gonna have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer until March. And that could be helping us to soften into old memories and to connect even with our feminine ancestral line many generations back. There could be things that happened last year, and especially in around January till April. That's because of the Mars retrograde, which happened around the same degrees. And where Mars is more of an acute and like tough and more of a fiery situation that in like maybe relationships or something like that, or even yeah, just ways in which we are being confronted also emotionally, which is Cancer is very emotional. And now Jupiter is kind of retrograding over the same degrees, not entirely the same degrees, but the theme could be that we're getting help healing some of the things, like we're getting a do-over of the themes that were happening in the Mars retrograde, and especially around January, February, March. Maybe like old like old relationship things, people coming back into our lives, people from our hometown, things that have a signification with home or homeliness, or just our relationships. And the do-over is bringing in some like, what new version have you become, and are you now kind of settling really deep into your cells, deep into the cellular memory, in a way that if you're spiritually inclined, you might resonate more with this than if you're not, but that gets deep into the cellular memory of the ancestral line. And that is maybe something that a lot of your ancestors or female ancestors in the matrilineal line have had to live through, and situations that they were really confronted with and maybe couldn't escape or couldn't find solutions for, that you in this life are able to transmute, and that you're not even passing it on to anyone else. It just, you're the last one, and you get to, in a very soft and loving way and cherishing of yourself, get to live the new version. So this really ties in with a lot of the videos that I've been making up till now, with this theme of having in the past to do things in a very hard and tough way, that maybe now in some ways the door is open to restructure that, and to really engage in a new way of doing, which is more soft and more nourishing, and really lets go of that maybe somewhat traumatizing, maybe just harshness, and sets you on a new path because you've become a new version of you in some areas of your life. So I am looking forward to seeing how my emotional musculature has grown, because it really started out of the Mars retrograde and having to look at how codependent I was. Fun times. No, it was very dramatic last year. But yeah, imagine that it's sometimes the hardest things, the most dramatic things that are really able to show, uh, like, there is really something going on here. So I just wanted to preface all of what I'm gonna say in this video with that this could really be a very healing time, and that what we might be healing is something that has that is present in our lives because it's so deep, that it's such a deep pattern that even our ancestors were dealing with it. And yay for us living in this time of incredible transformation. So, having said all that, everything should pretty much feel like a very natural thing that can happen, and you're kind of, if you're using anything of what I'm going to say, then see it as sprinkling in things that just help you along and give you a sense of definition of what's actually going on and how could you approach this, and not so much like, here's this method, I have to do this, I must force myself into some kind of a healing because my mind is saying that's good for me. Of course your mind can be part of it. Of course you can feel like this is good for me, but just be a little bit mindful to be very nourishing in your inner landscape so that you can allow for flow to happen, because all of this is in the Cancerian energy, which is emotional. It's allowing things to flow. It's not really pushing things. It's kind of an inner journey in which you're mostly allowing, which means you're not trying really hard. You're paying attention to what is happening and just being curious, and not judging it too much. And, along the way, you might want to write something down or do something with it in order to help you along so that you flow easily. Yeah. Everything is soft. Okay, so I found myself using art as a medium to connect to my inner world, and it was only by chance that I found out that I was actually connecting to memories. And so I'll tell a little story. I have been creating or drawing portraits. Like, I was so interested in faces. And because I moved around as a child so much, of course, there have been a lot of faces that I've seen, and that I have just people that I don't know anymore or I've had to let go of. And it turns out that, well, I kept drawing something. That I had an assignment for a museum where I was gonna have an exhibition, and I was reacting to, that was the assignment, to react to some piece in the collection of the museum, and it was a kind of a painting by Marlene Dumas. So in Dutch we say Marlene Dumas, and I think that was her. And it's called Genetische Heimwee, and it means, I think in English it's genetic nostalgia, but it's like, Heimwee is like thinking back of home. It's like some place. It doesn't have to necessarily be home, but it's like pointing at a place, a situation, a person, or something that you're nostalgic about and missing. So, ooh, that is so Cancerian. Ooh, I can't believe I'm talking about this, and I just explained the whole thing about ancestral DNA, and yeah, Cancerian energy can be so nostalgic. So, it was like a portrait, and Marlene Dumas is South African, so the portrait had some kind of African features in it, and I really connected to it, especially the words like genetic nostalgia. Like, I was growing up in Africa, and I'm now living a life where I can't even express this African identity that I have. I'm sorry, I have to get rid of this. And I I miss Africa. It is where I come from. It is where I was grown. It is the codes that I carry. It is deeply embedded in who I am. It is my soul. And so I made also this drawing, and it's this almost like a self-portrait, and I've been drawing these portraits, and a lot of times they have like features of Samoan, or it was sometimes like me but also not me. It was like all these kind of influences that have been in my life that sometimes I don't even know where they come from, but I feel compelled to draw them. It's like kind of romanticizing by making the shapes, and sometimes they enter into this portraits of my own face. Yeah. And like, it's also like when I came into this world, this is going to be a little bit philosophical, but when I came into this world, the things like my name, my face, just how I look like, having a body, like being in my body felt totally natural to me, but all of the other things, and especially the labels about them, and also being albino or being someone with visual impairment, it always felt like something that is just an experience that I'm having. Like, is it me? I don't know. It doesn't really seem to be all that important that I identify that as a me. And that I be that. And that like, I can take on that role and be like, yeah, I get it. You look at me, you see this or that. I can respond from that place. But I don't always think of it as me. Like, yeah, so also I can look at my face, and I can look at myself, and I can look at my videos that I make with modeling, and I don't really feel like I need to identify with everything about it. If I have strong emotional triggers, then I deal with that. But yeah, yeah, I don't care. I also look at my face like, yay, a canvas to put makeup on and have fun. Like, when other people are going like, oh, I love that thing that you're wearing or something, I am just like, yeah, me too. Isn't it amazing that we get to walk around in these bodies and dress them up and be like, yeah, party. And then we can feel depressed, like looking in the mirror and be like, oh, no, I don't feel good looking at that. There must be something wrong. But yeah, so I was making these self-portraits, and I didn't feel anything about just like experimenting with all of these shapes. And so yeah, I could portray myself as anything, a monster. I once even made a self-portrait of myself as what's the English name? In Dutch, it's ambe. It's I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. It's that thing when you try to poop and it's really hurts, like and what is that called? Sorry. Oh my god, someone's going to have to put that in the comments, but you all know what I'm talking about, right? It's like these, like when the anus gets like a bump or something because of pooping is so hard, and I don't know. So you all know what I mean. I don't think such things are dirty. We all have a hole there. We all poop. I hope. Sorry, but I'm talking about self-portraits. All right, back to that. So, genetic nostalgia. Shit. My surname is German, and sometimes I hear German people say that German people like like jokes about very simple things like poop. So maybe this is my genetic German heritage. All right, I'm trying to get serious now. So I still don't know the word, but it doesn't matter. So I was making this portrait, self portrait, and then I was, the night before I was going to hang it up or bring it to the museum for the show. I called my dad because it was like, I have been, like, this specific face, I have been drawing this person for years. And I even know what she sounds like. I even know what she looks like. And it's like I had this, like, I have seen several women that look like that, but I know it's not the one. It's like almost like I can't feel back far enough into the original one, but suddenly I was there. I was drawing and kept on drawing, and this repetition was happening. And then I called my dad and I was like, Dad, who is this? Like, was there someone that looked after me when I was really little that I might not remember? And he was like, yeah, it was this and this woman. And I was like, describe what she looks like. I was like, no, that's not her. Because this person had a very specific physique. And she was like tall, like an Amazon, and dark skin, like rich dark skin. And her features were like an athletic person. But yeah, really like African, like I think Ugandan, like big eyes, big lips, and very tall, very strong, very muscled, beautiful. Like, and I said like her presence when she walks in the room is like everyone calms down. Everyone knows like she's got it. She is the person that handles the situation. And I even remembered her voice. And my dad said he couldn't believe it. He said her name was Helen. He later I asked more about it, and just, you know, different things that maybe that don't matter for here. But he said you couldn't have known her for more than 2 weeks, and you were only 2. And it was a very dramatic time and whatever. And he was like, whoa, I can't, but that is her. That perfectly describes her. And then he described the other woman, and I was like, nope, definitely not. I like, yeah, I understand if I had a nanny who was looking after me. It was the time that we were living in Uganda. And yeah, so I included some poetry, and that was like the literal conversation that I had with my dad on the phone. I made a poem out of that, and people could, and I made a voiceover so people could read it and they could listen to it. And then I had this incredible artwork. And yeah, it was really huge because I have visual impairment, so I love to like bombasticize my artworks and see them in huge like format, like, yeah. So that was one of my experiences with art. And it wasn't the only one like that. Years later, more and more of the memories came in. And in my last video, I talked about a little bit about that, what that was like. But yeah, when I had started to remember after getting like an initial kind of memory told to me by, or that I read that my family had shown me, I I started to realize that my artwork had been a lot about about those memories that were lost, and that the ones that were coming back. And so just basically you don't you don't really ever forget. Like, yeah, it's out of your conscious mind, but it's all there in the subconscious. Maybe it's interesting at this moment just to give a little metaphysics from a spiritual point of view, that it's not entirely my own, but when I heard about it, it has just stuck with me. Like, it has helped me really have a structure to understand how our DNA or how our body works or how our memories are. And so this is coming from the teachings of Matthias de Stefano. You can look him up, and I don't know if I remember where I found it. I can tell you if someone wants to know, then just put it in the comments and ask me, and I'll let you know where you can find that. He and several other spiritual teachers have talked about this, how we now know, right, that the quantum shows us that we are actually not real. We don't really exist. Nothing really exists. Everything is a holographic projection, which the holographic projection doesn't mean that it's fake. It actually means that the hologram is a full representation of everything. And that corresponds also to like a lot of indigenous knowledge or wisdom is centered around the idea that everything is connected, and that just as I'm not sure if I'm going to get it right, because I often say it wrongly, that we are like a drop in the ocean, where the ocean is the same, let's say, structure of consciousness as we are. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but I hope that you're gonna get what I'm saying. That we are like a drop in the ocean, where we are the same as the ocean, but also the whole ocean is represented in one drop of water. And that the code of reality is always repeated everywhere. It is law. There is no outside of the matrix. When we are in this reality, everything is code. And it doesn't mean that your body isn't real. It just means that everything is real in a different way than we thought. So in the subtlest realm, like, everything is one. And in the least subtle realm, in the most gross, coarse kind of realm, in which, for example, we are probably in one of the most separated realities, where we perceive ourselves as different individual bodies or beings or entities, and we don't entirely, like, most of us don't look at the whole world and say, I am one with this, I am the same as this. Okay, so that's a little bit of the groundwork. Then when you get to, like, so what actually is the body and what is the subconscious, and how does this ancestral thing work? Like, what do you mean ancestor? Or, what is actually our body? So then we would come to the point of that our body is made of earth. So by virtue of all of us eating and our ancestors eating whatever is around them to nourish themselves, and breathing And all of these elements are creating our body over millions of years. And eventually the evolution has pooped out us. We're the last iteration, living in the present moment. Of course, we know time doesn't exist, so all moments exist at once. So our ancestors, they're not like in the past because the past is happening at the same time. But that isn't really relevant right now. Just wanted to insert that in there. But then, like, our body is the culmination of survival of all of those who went before us. So, now it's gonna get a little bit, it's not woo-woo, but it's kind of technical and it might feel very vague to you, but just try. Let's see how this goes. So when you're going from subtle realm, we are all one, and coming into a body, there's a whole lot of like things need to happen before you can be a body. And let's just say like our ancestors had to develop themselves. Their evolution was all about what beliefs did they have. And so a belief would create an action, and then that action has consequences, and then there's a feedback loop, and then that is discarding the belief or ingraining the belief. And now stretched over thousands and millions of years, well, maybe beliefs are more like hundreds of thousands of years. I'm not sure like how our belief structure has, how old that is. But we have basically, our body is the sum of all of the beliefs that our ancestors had pertaining to their survival, and whatever characteristics helped them. And yeah, so what eventually I wanted to get to is this point that we don't actually exist. All of what we have is like all of the beliefs that carried substance, that were able to bring forth new life and new life and new life and new life. And all of our cells are programmed by everything that went before, and by all the knowledge that went before pertaining to survival and what seemed like a good idea and that helped us to get to where we are today, alive. And that is the subconscious. And that is our body. So our body is like the sum of the past. Our body is the living past. Our body is now part of the feedback loop that when we are going forward in life, our body or our ancestral beliefs are giving us feedback. This is how the body is receiving whatever I'm doing. So I hope that was clear. I know it's a big leap in thinking how we think about what is the subconscious and what is the body. So that's why I'm saying no memory is lost, because it's all in the subconscious. We therefore have, if you want to make it really loopy, we have access to the memories of the first cell that lived, that is our ancestor. It might not have been more than a simple, like, it might not have even had the capacity to think, I'm alive. But there it is. All of the evolution until the point that we are at, we have access to that. We are a living library of that. when yesterday I talked about that who we are is our coordinate in the matrix, then of course I'm not talking about the matrix like the movie, but more as an understanding that the world that we live in is eventually, when you get down to it, is code. There's law. There's like gravity is law, like that we are always kind of experiencing life is law, that we will die is law. Whatever is inevitable is law. Right? There has to be law. And I'm not talking, of course, about human law. This is the law of what creates reality and makes it be what it is. It's our reality is limited. Other worlds or dimensions or realities or whatever's might have different laws. So yeah, what I'm talking about in this video is maybe the law of memory. So, you have access to all of it. The question is, do you know how to access it? That's where you possibly expand your awareness, your consciousness. So, you know how they say, like, we only use that little percentage of our brains, like few percent, and then there's the whole percentage of brain that we don't use? I would think that probably that is the subconscious, and it's not like a lot of spiritual people think that they have to make everything conscious, but there's an argument to be made for that. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, but that we don't need to know everything, and that it would maybe for most of us that is not what we're here to do. but but we can dive in to the subconscious and find specific things that we're looking for, and that is, astrology is kind of like a clock, and all of the planets kind of, when they come into like a theme, like their heightened theme, they kind of unlock that theme in our lives. So that would at this moment be memory, and ancestral memory. Yeah. I hope you're still following and having fun. I really hope so. Because all of this is it's just so much better and juicier and everything if you're having fun. So just spirituality and trauma healing and all of these things, they don't necessarily have to be stuffy. They don't have to be like books. They can, if you want to. You could be, whatever. Whatever makes your juices flow. I hope that you take that as away from this as well. You're allowed to have fun. And everything works better if you're enjoying yourself. Yeah, so a little bit about astrology could be as well that if you're listening to this and you're like, whoa, this is like, I'm getting so much data, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. This is a really good exercise. You just take something that's big enough that you can throw from hand to hand, and you do this. And it helps your right and left brain halves integrate information. It gets you out of your mind. It gets your juices running. So please, if you can just look around you and find something, anything, a pen, your phone. No, you're watching this maybe on your phone, but and just throw this around. And that is it's like a neurological exercise to help you to integrate things and to not like overthink things. All right? Do that anytime. So, next thing is I'm going to say a little bit about astrology, about your astrology that might help you to know which things might help you if you are trying to access your subconscious, to access memories. So, like I said, I have used art. For me, it's very easy to let my feelings flow at this point. I have a door, lots of doors to my subconscious that I know how to open very easily. And if you are the kind of person that draws very easily, and if you are able to let your hands just do their thing, and that you eventually like look at it and like, oh, I never expected that I would have drawn that, that is one way that you could access your subconscious. Especially if you ask questions. If you have certain feelings about things, or, you know, a certain situation that you want to know more about, you can ask your subconscious. Like, you can get calm, ask for information, and yesterday in the video I was talking about you can just let it bubble up, but using your body and using your hand, it's like a way that allows the body to express itself without your mind getting in the middle of things, which is quite important to not overthink things, and to start getting used to not grabbing onto things with your mind unless it feels important. Like, oh, but this one is really important, and it's kind of like it lands in your lap and you're like, hey, all right, I get it. It's here, the memory, or whatever it is. So you can ask a question. If it helps you, you can name your subconscious so that you're talking to an actual thing. Sometimes it just helps a little bit to define. It really doesn't have to be that. If you feel weird about that, then obviously don't do that. It's just like helping your consciousness to switch from normal everyday to little deeper, curious, a little bit trancy, a little bit feeling into your body, just, you know, not being overly curious that you're like, what is this? What's going on? You know, but I don't know if you could see that, what I did there, like, you know. But being more like, okay, I see me doing this. Another way you could do it is through dance and listening to your body and feeling into the feelings of it. Another way could be singing, or allowing or expressing sound. Very, very strong. That is, I think, one of the strongest ways to bring up things out of the body, and I am schooled and almost certified in that. And then another really good way would be to write. So automatic writing, you could write to yourself. So you just get a piece of paper and you write like your name. This is an example. You don't have to do it exactly like this. If you feel like you're getting some feelings about, look, I want to do it like this, do that. Do whatever your intuition is telling you, okay? If you don't have any intuition about it, then just try one of these things. And you would maybe like write your name and then say, I want to know about whatever it is. And then maybe you just say subconscious, and then the subconscious replies. So when you're starting out on this, if you've never done it before, you're not judging anything that you're writing. You're just allowing yourself, even if it's complete bullshit, you're just allowing yourself to write, okay? For some people, it helps to write with their non-dominant hand. So if I'm right-handed, then because I'm really practiced, I can do right-handed automatic writing. Sometimes they call it a brain drain, but you can like intentionally ask your subconscious. And for some people, they find that they will have better access to their subconscious if they write with their, like for me, it would be my left hand. So your non-dominant hand. And I don't like doing that because it takes me a really long time to even write a whole sentence. What might take me a minute, but you're still accessing your subconscious. And this, it can be so thrilling to even access your subconscious. And if you've never done that before, it might not be about memories at all in the beginning. And, you know, there's also no guarantee that you will unearth memories. Yeah. Yeah. And there are very many ways, artistic ways. You might use color. Like even the choosing of colors might help you. You might even use your clothing, like just feeling into your body and asking your body, like, if I wanted to get in touch with more of my memories from whatever time that was, then you could think of the situation where it was, at what year that was, where, in what country were you, what village, what kind of things relate to that atmosphere. And you might already be starting to get clues that, yeah, a lot of times people like totally forget that they're actually getting information. And this can happen to me. Like, I'll go, I wanna do this with my clothing. And, you know, I was living in Guinea-Bissau and I wanna dress a little, and then I just get these ideas about indigo colors and blue, and then I'm like, I'm drifting off and I'm like, la, 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 and like, oh shit, I wanted to, shit, I got carried away. I was supposed to think about clothes. But no, my subconscious had already taken me on a little journey. So it can be even things that really frustrate you or trigger you. And if you start, like, if your subconscious takes you on a journey, then just be a little bit like curious that that might actually relate to memory retrieval. So memory retrieval can feel a little bit like you're going a bit dreamy, a bit, might not feel normal to you. That's okay. Yeah. Of course, it can happen in your dreams. So write down your dreams whenever you're really in a phase of connecting to memories. Feel into all kinds of textures that have to do with your memories. I should turn this around and say, like, memories can also be textures. It can be like things. I'll give you an example. I was talking to my friend, and she was telling me some memories of hers, and I started, like, my eyes started hurting, and I was like, because I'm so practiced in this, I was like starting to pay attention to my eyes instead of her story. And after a while, I told her, you know, I'm getting some feelings of that my eyesight has something to do with your story, because my eyesight keeps narrowing down and gets really sharp and like almost painful. And I was telling her about this, like the reflex that is in my eyes. It kind of feels like everything's really hard and harsh, and I really have to focus. I really have to pay attention. Like, don't miss, don't don't miss any clue. Something could, you know, it's like almost like my body went into hyper awareness, like alarm, like anything could happen at any moment, beware. And as I was telling her that, it's like she started to have bodily sensations, and instead of it just being a story that she was telling me, she was like, yeah, I really, this, what had happened, that is how I felt, but I didn't realize it until you were telling me this. And she was like, it's so helpful that you're able to almost live the bodily sensations of my memories, and I feel really supported and understood. That's not just a story that's coming out of my head, out of my mouth. It's something that I actually lived, and that's what it felt like. And yeah, I could like squeeze her hand and be like, I get it. I've actually also gone through a lot of that. And also to feel like the tenseness of that situation. So just your physical body can start to reflect sensations about the memory. I had no idea that all of these things would come out. That's why I'm so happy about sometimes making these videos. It's hard to know beforehand if there's gonna be anything that comes out of my mouth. All right, guys. Yeah, sometimes I'm talking and then it's kind of like an alien that is me at the back of my head popping out and just going like looking through my eyes and being like, oh my God, she's still talking. And it's like, it makes sense what's coming out of her mouth, but like I have no control over this, okay? I just hope something good happens. All right. Yeah. So I hope all of this is giving you an idea. And I hope that while you're watching this, you're paying attention to your body and the sensations that you're having. So different people have different things that they connect to really well. For example, I connect really well to taste. You might connect really well to hearing or speech or the way things are formulated. Sometimes we can even feel things about the memories that we're trying to retrieve. Like there's some meme. I know this sounds really weird, but memes are like, there's something hypnotic about them. It's like they get us into a trancy state of like, da da da, like this is the truth. I don't know how to explain it to you, but there's something like in the rhythm of something being said that could like stick to you. So sometimes, like for example, when I try to get memories back, I hardly ever like try to do it. I just know that something's going on and like my body is saying, hey, there's a memory coming along. It's kind of like, oh, I saw a butterfly fly past. I didn't really, but it's that could be like the sensation of, oh, I'm having a memory retrieval moment. So notice what your body might hyper tune to. It will suddenly go on alert. It will suddenly like tell you like, that's important to me, the way someone said that, or that subject, that theme, something about it. Sometimes it's emotions, like I would get it when I watch people going through a difficult moment and they just don't seem to be able to get out of it, and they're kind of going into a loop, and I kind of recognize it and I'm like, I just know what that's like. It's just, it gives me, it freaks me out kind of, but it's not like I'm suddenly freaking out, but I know like memories are telling me like I have looped somehow so many times that does freak me out. Because I don't think I was trying to loop, it just kept happening and it made me feel very fearful, and I was trying to get out of it. So sometimes, yeah, it's also the emotions of what has happened. Sometimes it's something that we see in a movie. Sometimes we can ask in a situation that we're triggered, like what are the juicy words in this situation? What is it that if I asked myself, like, okay, so I had this once on the 8th of August. There's this moment, this astral moment that's called the Lion's Gate. And the more that you practice this on the 8th of August, the bigger that kind of energy gets. And so people call it a portal, but basically you create a portal anytime you put intention, and especially when you have repetition, then you are kind of creating a portal from here to there. So also doing this kind of, so a portal is not something scary. It's something we are doing all the time. We don't even realize it. Reality is portals. That's how you move from one thought to another. I don't know how to say that to you in a different way. But so yeah, the 8th of August is called the Lionsgate Portal. And I was many years ago with my ex-partner. I was like so prepared for that day. I was going to do something spiritual. And it was like maybe the 3rd year that I worked with the Lionsgate Portal. And my partner and I had a super big argument. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I just wanted to do something spiritual. It's really important day for me. And I just was like, I was so triggered, so emotional. Thank God I don't go through that much of an emotion usually anymore. But I asked myself, what is it that I feel right now? Because I'm so triggered. Guys, when you are super triggered, those are golden moments to touch the actual shit that's going on. You can retrieve memories in those moments like nothing, like nothing else can. Okay? Triggers are echoes of things that have happened in the past that have been somehow forgotten, and it's like an anchor in your subconscious. And the trigger is an echo, and you can follow that echo down. You just follow the emotion down. Oh my God, you guys are getting gold. But you deserve it. Sorry, I just had to like make that comment. We all deserve to know this kind of stuff. So the trigger, I was super emotional, and I asked myself through these rage of tears, I was like, why am I so sad? And I was like, what I think my partner is saying, what I'm making it mean is, you're a waste of space. Okay, and for me, waste of space meant also not only do you have to make sure, do I have to make sure, like, it's like someone had been telling me, like, for generations and generations, like, not only do you have to make sure that you are giving energy or giving of yourself to your surroundings, not only do you have to do that, but if you are not giving, if you're just being neutral, I'm sorry, darling, but you are a waste of space. You are a detriment to everyone around you if you're not giving. This is not the truth. This was a subjective truth that I didn't know that I was heavily believing, and it was like in some way running the show. There was not great. So anytime someone would criticize me, I would make it mean, you're a waste of space. And yeah, I think that probably in the past, in my DNA lineages, in my ancestral lines, this has been made like even to the point that people feel like they have to like end their lives or commit suicide because they felt like they're being a detriment to other people's lives, if they weren't able to give of themselves, or to give what they thought that was needed. So yes, super, super heavy things. And through that, I managed to, slowly heal that and to realize like, whoa, that's really not true. And I don't need to think that. And I told my partner, he was not the greatest at that moment. But he would just like frown at me and be like, the fuck do you have to think things like that? Like, I needed him to like hug me and be like, oh my darling, I can't believe you would think that about yourself or think that I would think that about you. Come here, you know. And I would have like cried for like a week and then be over it. Yeah. Cause then you have the opposite, which is like, no, you're not going to be abandoned because you're a waste of space. You're not going to be like criticized because you're a waste of space. You're not, but you're going to be hugged because they understand. No, 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 no. You're not a waste of space ever. Okay, so all of you who, when I said waste of space and thought like, uh-oh, I feel that, or someone I know feels that, or I now feel like that's me taking it personally, my dear, you are not a waste of space. Ever. Ever. This is the thing about the Matrix. We are the fabric of reality. You are part of it, and you get to play and enjoy it. All right. And experience everything, and it's not all only, joy and rainbow poop, but you know. All right, I want to wrap this up. If there's anything else, yeah, the astrology things is like, if you have a lot of Virgo or sixth house things, so you would look at your astrology charts, you could look it up on a website like astro.com. You will enter all your birth data and you'll look at that chart. It's a nice round pie like a pizza, and you would look at all the slices and you will see a lot of things that you might not understand what that is, but basically I'm gonna say a lot of stuff, and then I'm gonna point you to things that you can see in that chart. That's what we call that pizza, the pie with the slices. And but you don't necessarily have to do that, okay? So if you have a lot of Virgo or sixth house things, sixth house is the number that is, so you will see 1 until 12, like there's 12 slices and they're all numbered 1 to 12, and that corresponds to the area of your life, and the sixth house is work house, like the area of your life that corresponds to work. So it's kind of like that pizza is kind of like a village with 12 houses in it. The numbers are the houses. And that is showing you, like in the first house, that is where your identity shows. So you can then go and look up what the houses mean. You can just Google it. It's too much for now. But basically, if you have a lot of Virgo, a lot of Capricorn, a lot of Earth, which is also Taurus, then it might really help you when you are retrieving memory to actually, maybe I'll go into this in another video a little bit deeper. Just comment if you would like me to do that. If you're one of those earth signs, or you feel even like intuitively you feel like you have a lot of earth in you, the element of earth, which is very sturdy. It's like you're really in 3D reality. It's like, well, if I do this, it's gonna have this consequence. Then retrieving memories for you might really help to actually do something with your body, like maybe to move, to take a long walk, and to just feel into your body. Or you may really like to look at, to write it down, like I was saying. That might work really well for you. Also, if you're a Gemini, the writing down might really work well for you. Or if you're a Libra, or you have a lot of air in your, the air element, or if you are an Aquarius. so, and don't worry if I'm saying like this would work for you and you don't feel like that would work for you, because your chart, the pizza, the village, has lots of different things. And so it might not be only you being an Aquarius, because that's just where your sun is. Like, memories might even be more in where your moon is. And it might also be looking at the area of Cancer, so the sign of Cancer in the charts, and you would look at which house is that, and then it would tell you in which area of your life are you prone to be able to catch memories. Like, yeah, I don't know if there's planets there. I can talk more about that. But yeah, and if you're more like a water element, like Pisces or Cancerian, Cancer, then, or even Scorpio, but Scorpio might operate a little bit differently, then you can go really into deep into your feelings and into arts and let things flow, and that might work really well for you to have a little bit more of a flowy thing. But you might also feel like you need a little bit of structure for your flow to be focused. And that's the thing, that Scorpio might be very good at focus and not need that kind of structure in order to dive deep down. Scorpio might just need like the truth. And like they might just know what is true for them. I don't know, just saying. And then who are we missing? Yeah, fire elements. So for Leo or Aries, or even like the fixed signs, which is Taurus. Yeah, Sagittarius to a degree. Aquarius might work for this. That would be like taking an idea and just focusing on it, and like asking your subconscious in a very focused way, this is what I would like to know, and then maybe doing a brain drain, like just automatic writing, that's the same word, automatic writing, and allowing it to come through. The fire signs like Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo might also be really good at really focusing in on their body and seeing that, yeah, so this is what I haven't mentioned yet. Like, you can ask, where in my body do I feel this? The fire signs, or if you feel like that is you, you might be very much helped with like a guided meditation. And so I'm sure that they are online. I know that Teal Swan has one. I don't know if it's about memory retrieval, but if you look at soul retrieval, if there is not a specific memory that you know that you want to find, and it's more like you feel like there's things that you need to know in order to become more whole, then you could definitely look at the theme of soul retrieval. So soul retrieval is kind of the same. When we have memory loss, there could be a part of our soul that is stuck in the past. So literally, when I was talking about before, like there's an anchor in our subconscious, that would be, the anchor is the trauma that keeps on reminding us that something's going on. But it could like literally be like when we, like, trauma is, it kind of happens when a part of our consciousness, because our consciousness is actually not a thing, but it's more like a stream, and part of our consciousness kind of splits off, because trauma actually means like I cannot resolve this. And when you cannot resolve it, the psyche will choose to move on and leave a part behind. That is what consciousness can do. And that is how, like, that piece stays there, anchored there, and keeps calling until the psyche can reintegrate it. And that's what we call soul retrieval, because we want to become whole. And that is actually part of what cancer is about. Not the disease, cancer, the sign. So this is all of what I am a Cancer rising. So for me, it's very easy, and it's I really like talking about this and telling you guys about this, and hopefully it helps. And yeah, like I said in my last video, this is so much from everything that I've discovered on my own because of my life story, my life journey, that it might be so specific to my life. And I hope it inspires you. But even if I didn't say anything that helps you, just know there's more out there that you can look at, like, yeah, being hypnotized, or yeah, regression, or even a session that I can give, which is through the soul voice method. But just so you know, like, just because you didn't find anything here doesn't mean it's impossible for you. It's just that this is all that I know. I don't know everything. Okay, that's obvious. All right. I wish you a beautiful time if you're investigating into this, and lots of luck, lots of trust. Trust yourself. Yeah. 2 videos ago, I talked about shame, and if you find you're having blockages, then make sure you're not like ashamed of things, because that could limit you in being able to access things. And yeah, don't gaslight yourself. Be really, really open. Hold a kind of atmosphere. Hold the awareness that many different things could be true at the same time. When you find out things, maybe write them down. Don't get triggered by them. Just know that it could be true what you find out. It could also be your body needing to go through some things, and all of those things are okay. All of those things are natural. If you need help, make sure you have some help, or call out for someone, or make a comment if you, I don't know if I can help you. But yeah, don't worry so much. Have the idea of and consciousness, so things don't have to be black or white. Many things could be true at the same time, and try and hold things very lightly. Like, don't hold them too tight. Don't say, oh, now I am this, or just hold it lightly. Like, things can change, things are always morphing. If it's really important to you and it feels very like strong, then investigate it. Just be curious. Make sure you're not hyper focusing on something and missing the big picture. And yeah, have a lot of compassion for yourself, whatever happens. And for a lot of people, it could feel good to just keep a little log, like maybe have a journal, write down what your experiences were, so that you have something to go back to, and you can see the breadcrumbs, of your path, of what kind of a journey you're making. And just making a little log, like writing a few words, or even making a video, or a little like recording it into your phone. What has happened, how did you experience it. It can also really, after you've gone into this deep dive into your subconscious, make sure you come back, and yeah, that's where it can be helpful to just write a little bit about your experiences, and then so you're giving yourself the opportunity to really ground back into the here and now. And you might feel good to say your name. If you feel a bit trancy, maybe jump up and down, and make sure your feet are awake, you feel warm. Eat something. A lot of times to put something to do something, or go for a walk, or like come out of it. Don't stay in the dreamy state unless you feel that that is good for you. But just to know that these are different states of consciousness, and it's good to also learn what is the aware. I am aware that I'm here and now. I know where I am. I know my surroundings. And you're safe. All right, that is all. Signing off. Bless you. Bless your journey, and wherever you're at, that is a okay. All right. See you. Bye.